Alexandra Levine welcomes you to the Alexandra Levine Live Podcast. Today, we've got a packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you well informed. So, please click the subscribe button to get notified of her upcoming episodes. If you like what Alexandra talks about, then please share the Alexandra Levine Live to others. Alexandra also looks forward to your comments during this episode. Tonight's Alexandra Levine Live Podcast starts now.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello, this is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. We are all in tonight with me, Alexandra Levine. Of course, coming out of Washington, we have major breaking news. Let's put up the first slide. So Representative Tony Gonzalez, a rhino, he finally admitted to sexual relationships with a staffer that he was involved with. And we found out recently this year that she actually died by suicide. She actually burned herself to death as he fights to defend his House seat. Well, this is crazy. The guy clearly has a huge scandal. He actually lost his re-election campaign in the primary against the challenger. Now they go into a runoff, and he actually lost a little bit of percentage points in the runoff. He's actually not ahead of his opponent. Speaker Johnson came out today and said that Mr. Gonzalez needs to step away, resign, and give up his seat to the other Republican. And let's get this going for the American people, meaning let's keep proper structure, proper conservatism, proper conservative values in the Republican Party. As you know, we've lost a lot of conservative values over the last few years with people like Tony Gonzalez. But, I mean, does anyone applaud Mr. Gonzalez of it finally admitting that he slept with a staffer? We already know that he did. But what he should do if he has any pride, any dignity, is he should step away, and embrace his opponent. And next breaking news. This one was very, very crucial today. Let's read it. So, at Real Donald Trump, he said, I'm pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security, DHS, effective March 31st of this year. What? What happened to Kristi Noem? Well, the current Secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to be special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, something that President Trump created. Our new secretary initiative in the Western Hemisphere we are announcing on Saturday in Doral, Florida. I thank Kristi for her service at, quote, Homeland. Serving 10 years in the United House of Representatives and 3 in the Senate, Markwayne has done a tremendous job representing the wonderful people of Oklahoma, where I won all 77 out of 77 counties in 2016, 2020, 2024. A MAGA warrior and former undefeated professional MMM fighter, Markwayne truly gets along well with people and knows the wisdom and courage required to advance our America First agenda. As the only Native American in the Senate, a true Native American, not like Pocahontas, Markwayne is a fantastic advocate for our incredible tribal communities. Markwayne will work tirelessly to keep our borders secure, stop migrant crime, murders, and other criminals from illegally entering our country, and the scourge of illegal drugs, and, quote, make America safe again. Markwayne will make a spectacular Secretary of Homeland Security. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And, of course, the mainstream media, they pushed the headline, Kristi Noem was fired. Kristi Noem was fired. She wasn't fired. She was removed from being the DHS secretary, and she was replaced with another job. When you say someone's fired, that means they don't have a job. They're done. They go home, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Now, I can tell you, I heard her hearing yesterday with her wonderful husband, who I've interviewed right behind her. And there were some questions that she was asked, and she didn't answer them properly. And Congressman Jamie Raskin, anti-Juju Democrat from Maryland, who I can't stand, he called her out. He called her out on all the money that she spent on her luxury airliner, all this money that she spent flying here, flying there, having extravagant hotel rooms on taxpayer dollars. She's also been alleged to have an affair with her, I guess you could say the guy that works under her, Corey Lewandowski. Corey Lewandowski, if you remember, he was President Trump's first campaign manager. There also were reports that he hit on Hope Hicks, who worked with Trump. He tried to have an affair with Miss Hicks, and that was I mean, that was pushed out to the forefront. Mr. Lewandowski is known for being a huge philanderer. He's married with 4 children. He's from New Hampshire, but he can't keep his hands to himself. I know because I saw it personally when I was at Trump Hotel in DC. I personally saw Mr. Lewandowski put his hands on a woman that wasn't his wife. He put his hands on other women's asses, escorts. He slept with escorts at the Trump Hotel. He also likes to put his hands on other women's asses and gets drunk, and his favorite drink is Long Island iced teas. He was also accused of touching my good friend Joy Villa in the butt, who's happily married. I can tell you that that was confirmed by her, that Mr. Lewandowski is a disgust. Mr. Lewandowski also acts like he's got power and that he's something, but he's really a nothing. Mr. Lewandowski has proved time and time again that he's a piece of garbage and that he uses President Trump's name for gain, that he sleeps with anybody and anything for gain. He also tried to sleep with a big GOP donor from Texas and, basically threatened the woman and said, you don't know who I am. And if I tell Mr. President, everything that's going on here, you'll be X'd out of the event. And of course, the lady was flabbergasted and disgusted. She went personally to President Trump and said, this guy, Corey Lewandowski, is like threatening me. And he's trying to seduce me. And my husband's like right here in the event with me. This is the constant pattern of Mr. Lewandowski. Mr. Lewandowski is a pig. But as I said, Mr. Lewandowski, it has been proven time and time again that he personally got an apartment across from where Kristi Noem was staying in DC. There's reports that they flew together, not on business, but of pleasure. They were having an affair for many years. And, I'm glad that people bring it out to the forefront, whether it's Democrats, Republicans, Independents. The scandals have to come to an end. President Trump does not need people sleeping around on the job. President Trump does not need people cheating on their spouses while they're on taxpayer dime. Remember, Kristi Noem takes a government salary from being the governor of South Dakota, and she took a government salary being the DHS secretary. It's disgusting. Again, taxpayer dollars. Mr. Lewandowski should not have been near the president, should have not been near DHS, should have not been near Kristi Noem, but Kristi Noem brought him in. She brought him in. And again, she's a wonderful husband who owns a huge farm in South Dakota. He's a good-looking man, strong man. Like I said, I've interviewed him. I don't know why he's still with her. I know that when the alleged affair came out between Corey and Kristi Noem, her husband left the governor's mansion because he was disgusted. I think he might have been there yesterday, not because of moral support, because maybe he wanted to hear what these congressmen had to say about her. He's not stupid. And I'm telling you, he knows about the affair too. And everybody else does. So, like I said, Ms. Noem is not right for DHS anymore. And to be honest with you, I didn't think that she was the right person for the job. I was actually very surprised why she was first picked. But I can tell you that Mr. Mullen is a family man, loves his wife, loves his kids. He's a strong conservative. He's like up and coming. He's always on TV. He's always telling the American people what's going on, what's up. And actually, President Trump called Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana to confirm that Mr. Mullen is the right man for the job. Senator Kennedy actually said today the president called him pissed at the hearing that happened yesterday. Because again, when they asked Ms. Noem, did you have an affair with Corey Lewandowski? She did not say no. All she said was, I can't believe you're asking me this and da-da-da, and you're playing politics. And no, all you have to say is no. It's a simple no. I've not had relations with Mr. Lewandowski. But again, we all know that she has. I hope that Mr. Lewandowski and her stay far, far away from government affairs, especially Mr. Lewandowski, who used President Trump's name for gain. Again, this guy is a pig. I personally have seen him touch women inappropriately that are not his wife. And I'm surprised that his wife is still with him. And first of all, Mr. Lewandowski was not his wife's first love. His wife was actually married to Mr. Lewandowski's best friend, and he died. He died. Mr. Lewandowski is not the love of his wife's life. He's got some nerve. He's got some nerve to cheat on his wife, who was a widow when he married her. Cheats on his widow's best friend. Cheats on his best friend's widow. It's disgusting. It makes me sick, but that's politics. And you'll see that a lot in the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. That's why we have to weed these weeds, I call them, away from government. But of course, it's the nature of the beast. When you get into positions of power, you feel like you're Superman. You feel like you can get away with anything. And there's a lot of men in the Senate and a lot of men in the House of Representatives that will cheat on their wives. They don't care. Or like I said, I've said on this program, they cheat with reporters. They have sex with reporters so that they get fair coverage. It's very common in this industry. Very common. So I advise everyone to watch your step, and I advise everyone to not cheat on your spouse. I advise that if you are in a high position of power in the government, or if you are a senator, congressman, work for President Trump, think twice. Think twice before cheating on your spouse, because it will come out and it'll be ugly. And the whole, not only the country, but the world will see your affair on display. So we wish Miss Noam well, but I can tell you that her replacement is a much better person, much better. Moving on to segment 1. Now, segment 1 is interesting. So President Trump, as you know, wrote in a tweet a couple days ago. He said, I don't want the infighting. He said, we have this radicalized Democrat nominee. He's actually more far left than Jasmine Crockett. He believes that God is non-binary. He believes in transgenders and transgender surgery. The guy is so radicalized. And Elena said it last night on the Pulse. He actually believes everything that he says. He's not lying here. He is really radicalized. And we need someone in there who's seasoned, someone who knows the state like no other, someone that can really beat this mofo and beat him to a pulp. Now, as you know, Senator Cornyn is the incumbent senator. He is rhino-y. He is a John Thune light, Mitch McConnell light. And he was not very nice to Trump in 2020 and 2024. He accused the president of starting an insurrection. He did not support the president in 2020 at all. And then, of course, you have the other guy, Ken Paxton, who's the attorney general. He's hardcore conservative. He is the one that wants to get to the bottom and have free and fair elections. He basically stuck his neck out for the president. He got his title taken from him when the Democrats were in power, and he went through hell. He went through legal hell. He didn't end up in jail, but pretty much. And the guy has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on legal fees to clear his name. And then, of course, President Trump comes back in 2024. He's back to being the attorney general, and he's back to getting the job done. But Ken Paxton loves President Trump, supports him, supports his agenda. But President Trump said, whoever I endorse needs to back out and bow down, or bow out, I should say, not bow down, bow out, and support the person that I endorse. And if you don't, it's going to be very bad. And I can tell you, the president did call Senator Cornyn and Ken Paxton. There are reports that the president is leaning towards endorsing Senator Cornyn, and it's only because he wants to secure the win. Senator Cornyn has a name. He's got a lot of money. People know him in Texas, and he can beat that Democrat socialist to a pulp. Not to say that Ken Paxton can't either. But when it comes to going against this radicalized socialist, the president is looking at who will have the easier journey to beat him. Even though Senator Cornyn is kind of a rhino-y and a rhino guy, the president feels that it'll be an easier win. But remember, the president always plays the trump card. Because as you know, the president's trying to get the SAVE Act passed. And that's something that Ken Paxton's all about as well. So Ken Paxton said, if the president doesn't endorse me, I'll continue fighting. I won't bow out of the race. Then Ken Paxton comes back. And this is what's interesting. Let's put up the slide. So the first one was that President Trump is It's not confirmed, but he's considering endorsing John Cornyn in the Texas Senate runoff. Multiple sources say the president will make it official in the next 48 hours, praising Cornyn's stronger than expected primary finish and urging Paxton to drop out immediately so the GOP can focus on November. But here's what's coming. Paxton has already said he's staying in the fight no matter what. Expect a nasty, expensive runoff bloodbath, but with Trump's full backing, big money, super PACs, and Senate leadership all in, Cornyn is heavily favored to win the nomination 53-47 and cruise in the general. Texas stays red, but this one's going to leave scars. Let's put up the next image. So this is where Ken Paxton plays the Trump card right here. He says, the Save America Act is the most important bill in the U.S. Senate could ever pass, and I'm committed to helping President Trump get it done. I would consider dropping out of this race if Senate leadership agrees to lift the filibuster and passes the Save America Act. John Cornyn is a coward who has refused to support abolishing the filibuster to pass this bill. Now fake news reporters and the establishment are trying to destroy me with misinformation. The truth is clear. No one has been more loyal to Donald Trump than me, fighting the stolen 2020 election, being in Mar-a-Lago when he announced his 2024 campaign, and standing with him in New York in the face of lawfare. For the good of our country and for the good of passing President Trump's agenda, I'm determined to help him get this done. So Ken Paxton now is saying, I will sacrifice myself. I will drop out if we get rid of the filibuster or do what they call a walk. It's called like a walking vote. And that's part of the Constitution. Actually, Senator Rand Paul, to his credit, he pushed that today. Because John Thune will not completely get rid of the filibuster. Neither will Senator Cornyn. So they found other ways in the Constitution where you don't have to annihilate the filibuster, but there's other ways where you can just get it to 50 and be done, where you don't have to get the full 60. And that's what we're waiting for. That's what we're waiting to happen. So Ken Paxton there, playing the Trump card, smart. He's saying, I'll bow out. I'll be the better man here if Senator Cornyn pledges to push the SAVE Act and to either get rid of the filibuster or do it the way that J.D. Vance wants it done. So now the cards are in, or not the cards, but now we turn it, now the pressure's on Senator Cornyn. Because President Trump will not give Senator Cornyn that endorsement if Senator Cornyn doesn't push for the passing of the SAVE Act. Because we all know that if Ken Paxton was the senator, he would push the SAVE Act right away. It would, like, we wouldn't even have to think about it. But what an unbelievable man to sacrifice that seat for the good of the country, for the will of the people. But he's calling Senator Cornyn's bluff out. He's calling him out, calling these rhinos out. Now, I'm all for Ken Paxton. I love the president to endorse him. I don't think he's going to. And people are pissed. They're like, oh, Susie Seymour-Weil, she's controlling President Trump's endorsements. Why is he endorsing all these rhinos? It's not about that. President Trump wants to win. He's looking at everything. He's looking at numbers. He's looking at who can sail through. He doesn't want to endorse anyone where he's afraid that the guy's going to win or not. He wants to secure the win. He wants to get the SAVE Act passed. But again, pressure's on Senator Cornyn. Does he have the guts to do this? And Ken Paxton, he'll endorse Senator Cornyn if Senator Cornyn's on board with this. So again, pressure's on these rhino senators. This SAVE Act should have been passed a long time ago. They're holding this up, and we're having primary after primary after primary in some important states. And we're trying to expand the House of Representatives. We're trying to make sure that we don't get a bunch of flipped seats. We're getting a lot of state Senate seats flipping from R to D and state representative seats flipping from R to D. And that's scary. In special elections, it's very scary. That's why it's also very important who you vote for. It's very important that you really heavily vet the candidates. You call them out, ask them for a debate. Now, I do believe in contested primaries. I know a lot of people don't because they get nasty. But you need a contested primary because you need to see who's the rhino, who's the conservative, who's the one that supports your values, and who doesn't. I know that President Trump just wants loyalty and unity. I understand that. He doesn't want the infighting, but welcome to politics. There's always going to be infighting, no matter what. And the infighting within the Republicans is petty and stupid. It really is. But President Trump made 32 endorsements. And all of those endorsements, guess what? Those people won. President Trump's endorsement is one of the most powerful endorsements. If you get an endorsement from President Trump, you are guaranteed to win. It's been proven. But I push the question to my audience. Do you want Ken Paxton? Do you want Senator Cornyn? Do you like Ken Paxton's proposition? Do you like that he's playing his Trump card right here? Do you think that Ken Paxton should pull out and sacrifice and push Senator Cornyn to pass the SAVE Act, hold these rhino senators to the fire? That's what I say. Yeah, Greg Abbott won his 4th primary. That was also an endorsement by Donald Trump, President Trump. Greg Abbott's great governor. But he wants a proper senator that he can work with too. Because governors need federal funds. They do. They need government funding. They go to the senators, they go to their congressman, they go to the president for federal funding, especially for bridges, for infrastructure, and so forth. And Greg Abbott has worked with John Cornyn for many years, as well as Ken Paxton. And he likes them both equally. But we'll have to see what happens. As I said, sources are saying that the president is leaning towards endorsing Senator Cornyn, but I believe that President Trump will probably endorse him, Senator Cornyn, if he promises to secure the SAVE Act. There's like 49 senators that have co-sponsored the SAVE Act. There's no reason why it has not been passed yet. It's Senator John Thune. It's all on him. If he doesn't get this passed soon, it's going to be really bad for our country. Why don't these senators, and I should say House of Representatives, why don't they want free and fair elections? I mean, the Democrats have been cheating for years. So why would the Republicans want free and fair elections? Like I said, there's way too many rhinos in Congress. I told you, socialist Democrats and rhinos are detriments to our nation. I've said it multiple times. There's rhinos in some of the most hardcore Republican conservative districts that are trying to weed themselves in and win and beat hardcore conservatives. It's disgusting. I'm so tired of it. I'm so sick of it. That's why it's really important who we vote for in the primary as well as the general. So please, guys, do your due diligence. Go to events, meet these candidates, talk to them, heavily vet them. As you know, I'll be interviewing most of them. Don't be afraid to call them out. Don't be afraid to ask them the hard questions. Remember, they work for us. We don't work for them. Well, don't forget, before the break, we have one of my sponsors, rncstore.com/ALL. That's Mr. Richardson Nutritional Center. Put in the QR code right now. Use it. Get 10% off. Type in ALL. It stands for Alexandra Levine Live. This is a wonderful supplement. Apricot seeds, helps with the immune system, prevents against cancer. It's a wonderful antioxidant. I've been taking it for months. I love it. I travel all over the country and the world, and I take these supplements with me. It's really good for people that have low immunity. It's great for people that have cancer, that have had cancer, that are pregnant, that are expecting. It's a very, very good supplement, and we love promoting Richardson Nutritional Center. So please, guys, go to rncstore.com/ALL. If you don't type in ALL, guess what? You don't get the 10% discount. And of course, the more you spend, the more discount you get. So please, guys, go to rncstore.com/ALL. Stay with us. We have another jam-packed half hour. We'll be back right after the break.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
Well, hello, everyone. We're back. I'm Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. Don't forget to like and subscribe us. We are literally live on about 8 platforms now. We actually have expanded our platforms and we've expanded our service, our data servers. We're on like 15 different connections now. We are currently live on YouTube, on Spotify, on Substack now, Facebook, Parler, TikTok, Truth Social, Rumble, Instagram, and if I missed one, we're literally on the major social media platforms. You can personally watch this on Rumble and YouTube and X and True Social all at the same time. If you have a family, your child could be watching us on YouTube and X. The wife could be watching us on Rumble and True Social. It's awesome how there are so many ways that you can see us. You can also currently go on our website, AmericasPulseNetwork.com, and you can actually watch me live. You can watch every one of our shows live on our website. Also, if you are interested in being a podcaster, we have been expanding our podcasts. Please go to our website, AmericasPulseNetwork.com, fill in the podcaster form. Very easy form to fill out. As I said, we are expanding every single week. And if you're interested in sponsoring us, please, again, go to AmericasPulseNetwork.com, fill out the sponsorship form. You can sponsor the entire network. You could sponsor a specific show. You could sponsor the Pulse. So you could sponsor 2 shows. So sky's the limits, how many shows you want to sponsor. But we're always looking for sponsors on a daily basis. So moving into segment 2. So this is what I like to call the anti-Semitic hour. Tucker Carlson is a detriment to our nation. Yes, there is something called freedom of speech, but his rhetoric has gotten so bad that he's pushing so much Jew hatred that he's becoming worse than Candace Owens. Candace Owens, as you know, is a total turncoat against the Jewish people. At first, she liked Jewish people because of Charlie Kirk. Then Charlie Kirk, didn't marry her. And then he died. He was murdered. So now she's going on a rampage that the Mossad killed him and Israel killed him and all this crap. It's gotten so bad to the point where Candace Owens' father-in-law, who's done so much for the Jewish people, has had to come out and say, I don't support what my daughter-in-law says. That's not how I feel. And I don't know why she's gone off the damn deep end. But Tucker Carlson is so sucked into Qatari money and Islamic terrorist money that he recently went after a specific sect of Judaism in the Orthodox movement, which is one of the most rising movements in the Orthodox. It's called Chabad. And I'm a member of Chabad, actually. And in the Orthodox movement, we have moderate Orthodox, we have Chabad, we have Hasidic, we have ultra-Orthodox Haredi, we have Satmar. There's different groups. But the Chabad movement is a very special movement in Orthodoxy. It's a movement that is very open to everyone, that is very welcoming. We see a lot more young people getting married under the Chabad movement. And there's people that come from all over the country and the world, and they go to Chabads. I can tell you, I was in Budapest, Hungary, and I was at the Chabad of Budapest. There was 500 people, majority tourists, Israelis, that come from all over the country and the world to the Chabad of Budapest. 500 people on a Friday night Shabbat. And I was also there Saturday morning, mostly tourists, people traveling from Austria, from Germany, from Russia, from Israel to go to this Chabad. And it's not just the Chabad of Budapest, it's Chabads all over the country and the world. Chabad is a beautiful, beautiful movement, which actually enlightens a lot of young Jewish people to become more observant in their Judaism. And for Tucker Carlson to now have a war against Chabad, which he doesn't even know, which I don't even think he's ever been to a Chabad service, is asinine and disgusting to me. I call upon my Chabad rabbis to go after this man, to call him out, to seek justice, to completely explain what the Chabad movement is, but also to talk about in their synagogues why Tucker Carlson is the snake, why he's the venom, why he's the bad guy, why he's the Haman that is pushing all this hatred. It doesn't help. It causes more anti-Semitism. Now, I know we can't, quote, cancel him out. He hasn't threatened to kill Jewish people, but he's a step there. He's very close. And as we know, Jared Kushner and Ivanka, they're a part of the Orthodox movement. They consider themselves Chabad. And a lot of Tucker going after the Jews and going after Chabad stems from going after Ivanka and Jared Kushner. And I can tell you, there's Chabads all over the country and the world. It is a growing movement. So, of course, Tucker Carlson would poke and take the knife, so to speak, at a movement that is a beautiful movement, that after October 2nd or 7th, that movement became even more powerful. More Jewish people got married under the Chabad movement. There was beautiful weddings in Florida under the Chabad movement that hadn't happened in years, that brought a lot of parents together, a lot of siblings together to become more religiously observant. People that never put on tefillin and talisim now do that. People that never keep kosher under Chabad, they do that. Even some people that join Chabad, they become what they call Shomer Shabbat, which means they walk on Shabbos, they don't use electricity, they don't work on the Sabbath. But if they want to drive on Shabbat, Chabad does not judge you. Chabad would rather you come than sit on your butt and not come. Chabad understands certain conditions, cannot allow people to walk. Chabad also doesn't push the women to cover their hair or wear a shadel when they're married. Chabad also doesn't pressure the men to put on talisim and tefillin if they don't want to. Chabad doesn't pressure you to go to the mikveh. Chabad doesn't pressure you to be observant like a Chabad rabbi. But they want you to be a part of a community. Chabad is a huge Jewish Orthodox community. So for Tucker Carlson to attack this beautiful Orthodox Jewish community that I've known and grown up in and I love, I consider myself Chabad. I'm Shomer Shabbat now. I always kept kosher in my home, always. I've been an observant Jew my entire life, but I've become more traditional and more observant because of Chabad. I love it. The rabbis are wonderful, and so are the Rebbitzins, and you can talk to them anytime, and they're there for you. So again, the ignorance of Tucker Carlson, the ignorance of this man, is causing a huge problem now in the Chabad movement. So let's put up the article. So the article was written by a very conservative media outlet called A.L.L, which is one of the most conservative papers out of Israel. It's called the Israel National News. You can go to arutsheva.com, ARUTZSHEVA.com. So part of the article states that anti-Israel media personality Tucker Carlson sparked controversy after claiming that Israel's war is allegedly driven by a goal of destroying the Al-Aqsa's mosque and building the third temple in its place, which of course we know is not true. It's pure propaganda. In an episode of the Tucker Carlson show, he asked, quote, "How did all these guys wind up wearing patches suggesting the point of this war was the destruction of one of the holiest places in Islam and the rebuilding of a temple that is totally anathema to Christianity?" Craziness. He answered, quote, "This has been going on a long time in public, though, in part because of the efforts of a group called Chabad." And he spells it out, Chabad. He said, and of course he talked about what Chabad is. He said, Chabad is a branch of Hasidic Judaism. It's an organization that was overseen by many years by a guy called Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, who was famously in Brooklyn, considered the Messiah by some of his followers, who was a friend of presidents, or certainly someone presidents visited. He was a very powerful man in the Orthodox and the Hasidic community. He accused, quote, Chabad has been pushing in a pretty subtle way, unless you look carefully, for the reconstruction of the Third Temple. That's absolutely not true. That is absolutely not true. Rabbi Schneerson never went to Israel, by the way. Never touched Israel. That's not what Chabad is about. What he said was such falsity and such propaganda. It's disgusting. Again, Tucker Carlson, have you ever been to a Chabad? Have you ever sat with the Jewish people of Chabad? Have you ever talked to the rabbis? As I said, I encourage the rabbis to reach out to him. But the rabbis need to denounce what he says, debunk it, call it out, criticize it. And it's very scary because Mr. Carlson has millions and millions of followers, mostly far left and alt-right anti-Semites that call for the destruction of Israel and call for the destruction of Zionism, which they don't even know what the word Zionism means. They think it's a curse word. They think it's a bad thing. It's really sad that in this day and age, we have a guy like Tucker Carlson who again wants to start havoc for the Jewish people. He literally wants to have like another Holocaust. It's really gross. Yeah, Chabad has Sephardic shuls too. That is correct. In Israel, they actually have more Sephardic shuls than Ashkenazi shuls. Yeah, it's true. A Jew is a Jew. I agree. I'm Sephardic and Ashkenazi. I'm actually both. I grew up Ashkenazi, but as I've gotten older, I actually adhere to more Sephardic traditions. My sister does too. But I encourage everybody to go to a Chabad, see what it's about. See if you agree with Tucker Carlson. But in my opinion, the Chabad rabbi should not let this go. They should really say something about this. They should really write, maybe to Tucker Carlson, or just do something to combat this. Because the more that Tucker Carlson constantly goes after Jews and attacks Jews and whatever platform he uses, it's going to cause more problems for us. More anti-Semitism. I don't know if Tucker Carlson is circumcised. That's something that a rabbi would have to find out. Yeah, I agree. He's a stain on the underwear of life. I agree. But again, a question to my audience, is this acceptable? Is this acceptable behavior from an ignoramus? Someone that acts so holier than thou. Again, the person who talks the most knows the least, and Tucker Carlson knows nothing. He claims he's very Christian, supports Jesus Christ. He worships a Jew. He attacks Israel, but Jesus was born in Israel. Jesus died in Israel. Jesus was circumcised. It was bar mitzvah. His Hebrew name is Yehoshua ben Yosef. So Tucker, really think about what you're saying before you say it. And Megyn Kelly's an a-hole too for what she said. Attacking the Israeli Defense Force, attacking Israel. And actually, there was another article that came out that President Trump is actually pushing back away from Tucker Carlson because of his anti-Semitic rhetoric. So I thank Laura Loomer for that. I know Laura Loomer has the president's ear when it comes to the anti-Semitism that is around him. And we call upon J.D. Vance to remove Tucker Carlson's son from working with him. J.D. Vance is like all involved with Tucker Carlson and his family. And J.D. Vance has said some things in regards to Israel that doesn't make him look good. That's why a lot of people are pushing for Marco Rubio to be the president of the United States, because we want someone in the presidency that supports Israel. And you can't compare Marco Rubio's support for Israel to J.D. Vance's. Marco Rubio, even when he was a baby senator, he supported Israel. I used to say, because he's my senator from Florida, I remember when he first became the senator, I said, oh my God, I've never heard a senator defend and speak so eloquently about Israel my entire life. It was like such a beautiful thing. But Tucker Carlson's dangerous. We cannot poo-poo what he says. We really have to rise up, and we really have to combat every single thing that he says. Because the more that he spews out this anti-Semitic hate and rhetoric, it's really bad for the nation. Again, I call upon the Chabad rabbis to take initiative here, to call him out, to do something, shut his platform, something. It's not freedom of speech anymore. It's really becoming hate speech, and he's going to cause a lot of Jewish people to die, especially Chabad. And I love going to Chabad, and everybody should feel comfortable going to Chabad. I don't want Tucker Carlson to make it so that people don't feel comfortable going to Chabad. Chabad is like the safest place to go to. And there's always an armed guard there, I can tell you that. And there's people that are congregants of the Chabad that carry, I can tell you that too. So if you think that Chabad doesn't protect themselves, oh, they do. Sometimes every man for themselves over there, but they do carry. The congregants do carry. Chabad allows the congregants to carry in the synagogues or in the building that they rent. Most of the time, Chabad, it's not in the synagogue. They rent the spaces in buildings. They rent rooms in buildings, apartment buildings, or a business building, which you can do that. So it's really sad. Again, I encourage Tucker Carlson, go to Chabad. Go to Chabad before you say these things. He's just a mouthpiece, guys. That's why we are not opinion pieces here. We are fact-based. We're not fake news. We're part of the conservative media at the White House. Carolyn Levitt loves our network because we report fairly and honestly. We support President Trump and his agenda, and we support Carolyn Levitt and what she does as well. Don't forget that. It's very important. I just want to say thank you to everyone who is watching tonight and who's commenting in our comments. Thank you for the loyalty. These people have been with us since the beginning of our network. And again, we have our 1 year anniversary. I'll talk about that in segment 3. But thank you guys. I know there's a lot of people that are watching. They're not commenting, and it's expanded. I have a lot of people that listen to me from all different parts of the country and the world. So thank you so much, guys. We couldn't have done this without you. And don't forget our second affiliate sponsor, FoliumPX.com. There you go. Toxic heavy metals, full body detox, super antioxidant. This is a great supplement if you have depression, anxiety, if you're heavy, if you have hemorrhoids. This really helps with bloating. This also helps with immunity as well. It's like one pill that takes care of everything. So you can mix rncstore.com with Folium PX. Super antioxidant, detoxes you. Everybody needs a full body detox, especially if you come off of a vacation or a holiday. We just finished the holiday at Purim. Oh my God. If I look at another piece of Hamantash, and oh my God. But it's really important, guys, that we detox. It's really important that we get rid of the toxins out of our body, and that we get free radical support. So please, guys, go to FoliumPX.com. Use that QR code. You will get a discount every time you use it. And we'll be right back, guys, after the break.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up. Because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. But America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. The New Jersey State House Watch, hosted by Jack Brangan and Constance Detzel. APN's The Pulse is moderated by either Alexandra, Damon, Elena, or Seth. Also tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Join the revolution, because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
And guys, we are back. I'm Alexandra Levine, live with the America's Pulse Network. Don't forget to like and subscribe us. We are currently live on all the major media outlets. Like we said in the promo, we're on Rumble, we're on True Social, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Parler, we're on Substack, we're on Spotify now. If I missed one, let me know. Facebook. I mean, we're on all of them now. And like I said, you can watch this on Rumble and X and True Social and TikTok all at the same time, which is amazing. Amazing. I love it. So good. And the Pulse, if you didn't get a chance to watch the Pulse last night, you can watch the repeated show on all of those networks. We had a really great show last night, and you never know who our special guests are going to be. So if you didn't have a chance to watch the Pulse last night, I would totally recommend watching some of the repeats of the show last night. So as I said earlier in the segment, and I did say it last night on the Pulse, we made it, guys, and we made it because of you. Congratulations. This is our 1-year anniversary. Exactly a year ago today, I started my first episode on this network. And we started the network with my producer, Damon Sherrod, who's awesome. I couldn't have done it without him. Seth Eisenberg of the Conservative Corner and Damon Galdo. And Elena Barbara was with us from the beginning, as well as my good friend and colleague, Tim Fazenbaker. I mean, those were literally the originators of the network. But myself, Damon Sherrod, Damon Galdo, and Seth, we've been kind of like the tripod that's been holding the network together. And we're just incredible minds and very smart people. And we got along great, and we continue to get along great. And it's so cool because we all live in different areas. Seth's in Maryland. I'm in Maryland. I go to Florida a lot, and I go to other places. And Damon, the two Damons, Damon and Damon, they live in New Jersey. Elena lives in Florida. And a lot of our guests are, they're not always in New Jersey. They're all over the place. So it's really great that, we can do this network and we can live in different parts of the country. What was interesting is that we launched in March, but we actually first launched at CPAC of last year. I was media, as well as Damon Sherrod, representing the America's Pulse Network. And it was awesome because we got to cover the president. We did some great interviews with local people in office in Maryland, and also kids that were January 6th victims and legal immigrants of this country and so forth. We had some really great interviews. And it's all on AmericasPulseNetwork.com. It's all on Vimeo and other different outlets that we first used to film and produce. And again, just the expansion. I mean, we were on maybe 1 or 2 or 3 social media platforms in the beginning, and now we're on like 8 or 9. So we've come a long way. I actually got White House credentials, White House press credentials, so I can literally be in the White House briefing room with Caroline Leavitt and on the White House lawn with President Trump. And anywhere President Trump goes, whether he goes overseas or Mar-a-Lago or Bedminster, I have full access. And I can always bring someone from my network to come on with me. That's amazing because there's still people that have been in this industry longer than me, that have a bigger name than me, that still don't have White House press credentials. I also have credentials so I can go to the Pentagon, the State Department, the Department of Justice, DHS, and any federal government building. And that's amazing. And that's all been within less than a year. I actually got those credentials before we started our network because Caroline Leavitt went on TV and she said, we're having different types of press in the White House, and we want people that cover the president fairly. We're tired of mainstream media. We're tired of the White House Correspondents Association controlling the purse. And now she's having outlets such as myself, such as our outlets and others that have front row seats to the White House briefing room. We're not standing in the back or standing on the side. She literally puts us up at the very front and makes sure that our questions get answered. And I love that. I really do. I really do. And I'm so happy and blessed to be a part of this network. I really am. I couldn't have done it without the people on this network. And I'm so excited to see what the next year is going to be. And we are going to CPAC. I'm going to CPAC at the end of this month to represent our network. We have other things coming up that I will talk about. But for those of you who didn't watch my first episode, here's a little clip of where we were then and how we've come so far. So let's play that clip.
To come in and actually do the will of the people, to work with this president, to make sure the administration understands, hey, we're trying to do the things that are now law. But these people like Governor Wes Moore and most of our Congress people in this state, they don't care. And they will punish us as individuals.
So that's how we started. You know, I mean, my head was much bigger than Tim's. You know, it was kind of like this. You know, now, if you look at our setup now, I mean, this is beautiful. This is something so different. This setup is actually newer than it was last night. You know, how Damon Sherrod did it. And the quality is much better. Our sound quality is better. We're not freezing as much. I look more natural on camera. Like before, I had to wear like a lot of makeup for people to really see my face. And we have a beautiful ticker line here. And just everything is so different. And the commercials are different. And, you know, we have sponsors, affiliate sponsors, regular sponsors. But again, it couldn't have been done without you guys. But that was my very first episode with my colleague, Tim, who was kind enough to come on. And, you know, he actually he hosted the Pulse last week and the week before while I was away. And to see him come along and his growth as well. And it's amazing. It's really, really amazing. And again, you know, I think our producer, Damon Sherrod, we couldn't have done it without him. He is really the heart of our network and why we're up and running. And we owe a lot to him. We really do. Well, you know, I travel a lot. I try to travel as much as I can. For people who don't know, I am a professional opera singer. I had an international and national career before COVID. When COVID hit, a lot of opera houses were closed all over the country and the world. They were actually hit before then because of the Obama-Biden economy. But I opted not to take any jabs. I'm not vaccinated at all, and I don't regret it because my life was more important. My singing voice was more important. And now we're seeing that people that did take 3, 4, 5 jabs, they can't breathe. A lot of young people my age and younger have died from the vaccines or are having complications from the vaccines. The vaccines are also not good if you want to have children. The vaccines aren't good if you took them when you were pregnant. The vaccines have a lot of bad side effects to them. And I sacrificed my opera career for my life. And as a result, instead of me singing internationally, I got one little gig here and one little gig there, one political event there and one gig there. Well, finally, when the masks were taken off, President Trump came back and everybody saw the hoax of taking 4, 5, 6, 7 jabs, and everyone realized it wasn't really a vaccine because everyone kept getting COVID 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And the more people got jabbed, they either died or they got more sick. Now, guess what? People are looking for singers. They're looking for actors. They're looking for dancers. And I've been getting calls. They actually want someone who's not vaccinated because they know that I can breathe. They know that I have the stamina, that I could go for hours up against a vaccinated person who's had 12 jabs or whatever their maximum. I now don't have to take a PCR test or get medical or religious exemption shown to opera companies to get a job now. So I am starting my international career. I am starting my national career again. Thank you to President Trump reopening the Kennedy Center. It's going to be awesome. So that's happening. I've been doing a lot of singing in the Ohio area, a lot of singing in the Maryland, Virginia area, Florida areas as well, and Texas. And the first European country that I went to was Hungary to start the international career. So there's just some images that I like to show you of Budapest. And like I said, I've been there before. And this is a very famous picture. So this is it's called the Doheny Synagogue. It's aka the Great Synagogue. It's one of the oldest and biggest synagogues in the country and the world. And it's very famous. What's interesting is that they do not pray. There's no daily minyan or daily prayers at the Doheny synagogue, they actually use it as a museum. So underneath the Doheny synagogue is a small synagogue where people pray daily. But this is so beautiful. This is such a beautiful synagogue. My father's been there many times. I've been there many times. And there's so much history there. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful, historic synagogue. And our tour guide, who was from Budapest, she said to me, she says, you know, do you feel like God's presence? Do you feel Hashem's presence being in this synagogue? Like, would you feel comfortable praying here? I said, yeah, of course. And she liked the feeling of, you know, being in Jerusalem, being at the Kotel, because when you're at the Kotel, it's all open and you really feel God's presence. I mean, that's a whole different experience. If you've never been to the Kotel, I recommend you do. But this synagogue is so historic. It's so beautiful that I wanted to show this to you. Let's show the next image. So that's another image of the synagogue. Again, they've kept this architecture since like, oh my God, the 1700s. I mean, that's how old this synagogue is. And they have a huge organ there that they're not allowed to play. The Orthodox have deemed it illegal because you're not supposed to play music on Shabbat, according to Orthodox Judaism. But they still keep the organ there, and they have kept a lot of the wood and a lot of the older architecture and infrastructure that was there when it was first built. Let's put up the next image. So this is interesting. So at the hotel that I was staying at, they had breakfast, every morning. And my mother said to me, she says, did they serve you brown eggs? These are hard-boiled eggs. And I said, yes. And she's like, oh my God, I love the brown hard-boiled eggs. So it's actually healthier to eat brown hard-boiled eggs than the white hard-boiled eggs, because the yolk, which is the very fatty part, it's a condensed yolk. It's a smaller yolk. And there's more nutrients actually in the brown eggs than there are in yellow eggs, or excuse me, white eggs. Hello. So when you go to the grocery store next time, get yourself a dozen brown eggs. It's so much healthier for you. It's better to eat hard-boiled eggs than sunny side up or eggs over easy, eggs over hard. A lot of people eat scrambled eggs, but hard-boiled eggs, especially the egg whites of a hard-boiled egg, is really good for you. But if you can get brown, I'd recommend it over the normal everyday white hard-boiled egg. Let's put up the next image. So this was really cute. So I got to go to the theater and I saw Fiddler on the Roof. I love Fiddler on the Roof. I've done Fiddler on the Roof. I played almost every part. I know every single song. So this was interesting because the show was actually shown in Hungarian, but they had English subtitles. So it was really cool. And there was a part where they have like the chuppah where they're covering the English subtitles, but because I knew the show so well, I didn't need it. But this is a scene with there was Russian bottle dancers. If you've ever seen Fiddler on the Roof, there's a scene during the wedding scene where they have Russian bottle dancers. And these guys were great. Like the dancing of the show was phenomenal. The singing was very good. The acting was very good. And it's a small stage. So to do this show in a smaller stage with a big cast is very impressive. But I was very impressed by the actors, by the actresses. And I would recommend anybody go to the theater, see a musical theater show if you can. Again, it's not going to be in the original language. It's going to be in the Hungarian language. But if you know the show, it's even better. So let's see the next image. So again, that's a picture of the person who played Fiddler on the Roof. He was great. He doesn't actually play the violin. There's a violinist in the pit that plays for him. But he was great. He did a great adaptation of the fiddler, and he did a great imitation of playing the violin. Next image. So this is very famous. This is the Parliament. The Parliament, this was right on the Danube River. I actually took a river cruise through the Danube River. This is what the Parliament looks like at night. I'm actually going to put this on a postcard. It's so beautiful. It's golden. It's rich. There's so much historic stuff inside. It's heavily guarded and heavily protected. This is where a lot of the government lives and works in the parliamentary. And it's just such a beautiful building. I like it better at night than in the daytime. But this scene, I mean, just the scene of it is very breathtaking. Let's put the next image. So this is actually, I don't know if you can read it. So this is actually the location of the Chabad of Budapest where I was. My parents have been there and so forth. Again, you would never think that 600 people could fit in that Chabad, but they do. And they separate the men from the women, of course. But I was there Friday night and Saturday morning, and there was a lot of people there and a lot of kosher restaurants around that area. The Pest side of Budapest is literally called the Jewish Quarter. You have every kosher restaurant alive. You have a kosher grocery. I went to almost every single kosher restaurant in Budapest. And I went to the kosher market as well. And it's just very humbling over there. The people are very nice. They love Israel. They love the Jewish people. The Hungarian government loves Israel. And this Chabad is very touristy. You get a lot of Israelis that go to this Chabad. And you would think that the service would be in Hungarian or English, or the sermon would be in English. Nope, it's all in Hebrew. Everything's in Hebrew. So brush up on your Hebrew. That's all I have to say. Next image, please. So this is very famous. This is in Vienna. So I did a day trip to Vienna. I first started here, if I can speak. This is called the Schönenberg Palace. It's very famous. They have a bunch of famous palaces in Vienna. Besides the Schönenberg, they have the Habsburg Palace, which is the Palace of the Horses, the Horsemen, which I didn't get a chance to go to, but I'll have to go back and see. This is a huge, huge palace. And I took a tour of the States Room. You can take a tour of the museum. I didn't have time to take a tour of everything of the palace. It's an all-day experience. It really is. But it's so beautiful and it's so historic. And after that, I went to the Swarovski store, about real Swarovski, which is made in Vienna. And then I went to a couple kosher restaurants in Vienna as well. Let's put up the next image. So this is very famous. This is the Hungarian Opera House. I've sung there many years ago. I saw one of my favorite operas there, Tosca. I know the whole opera of Tosca. I've heard better. I'm just going to say I've heard better. The woman who played Tosca, there were some moments where she was good, but she was very heavy. She was very heavy set, and she was not breathing well. And again, these are people that probably took 50 jabs of the vaccine, and they can't breathe as well, and they can't do the part as well. I mean, this woman was literally, it looked like she's about to collapse after Act 2. There's 3 acts in Tosca. So, like I said, it was a very beautiful opera house. I love the opera. I always love Tosca. It's a very dramatic opera, but you have to have the right person to play Tosca. If you don't, you get disappointed. Same thing with her lover Mario. If the guy playing Mario, if his voice isn't that great, and if he doesn't get a lot of applause, which he didn't, then it hurts and kills the whole show. So this was very important to me to, again, start my international debut, go back to that Hungarian opera house, go back to the theater where Fiddler was played, sing. I sang at some synagogues there while I was there, and get my name out there again, get my voice out there again, meet the right people again. I connected with a lot of people, and even people that I knew years ago from Vienna, because I used to sing in Vienna as well at the Austrian Opera House and Symphony. And they remembered who I was. And again, I will be going back into the ring. As we say, go back into the arena. After I watched that Tosca, I was like, oh my God, I have to get back into the arena. Oh my God, they need me. Okay, next image. That's the ceiling of the Hungarian Opera House. Very historic architecture. The way, again, that they've kept it alive is amazing. That opera house has been up and running for, God, hundreds and hundreds of years. If you've never been, I encourage you to. It is a smaller opera house than most, but it's worth it, and the acoustics are great. Next image. So this is actually the Hungarian Philharmonic. I performed there as a viola player. I was actually able to get tickets the last minute because of my connections, because I'm a musician, because I was a viola player. And I saw a very beautiful concert. It was Debussy, who's an impressionist, and I used to study La Mer by Debussy. And then Camille Saint-Saëns, I didn't know this, but he wrote a beautiful concerto, a cello concerto, and he wrote another beautiful piece. It was a long piece because I've known him for doing the opera Samson and Delilah, and it was French night. I mean, Debussy's French, Camille Saint-Saëns is French, and again, it was just really, really nice, very beautiful, beautiful night, beautiful music, and I was like standing up right like on the third pew in the beginning because I got there late, and then I sat in my original seat at the second act. But I actually liked being up on the third pew because you can look down at everybody, and the acoustics are much better. It was hot up there, but like that was the view from the third floor of the Philharmonic. But it was really nice. And again, there you go. That's another aerial shot. Beautiful. And the guy who was the cello player who did the concerto, he played everything by heart, and he did a couple encores. It was great. It was so beautiful. And then let's do, I think it's the last image. Yes. So this is the biggest announcement. We're going to hold this one up, Damon. So I had the pleasure, because of our connections with this network and because I'm part of the conservative media at the White House. And again, this guy loves Trump. So does Viktor Orban, who's the prime minister. So this guy's name is Martin Ugrojdi. He's the Deputy State Secretary of the Prime Minister's Cabinet Office. I had the pleasure of spending almost 2 hours with him. I actually got to see Orban's private study, where he goes in quietly every Thursday and just picks a bunch of books and reads. And I wasn't allowed to take pictures of the study, but I was literally in the room next to where Secretary of State Marco Rubio was with Orban like 2 days prior. So I literally just missed the Secretary of State. But the fact that this guy took the time to talk about America, to talk about energy, and he knew about the Hungarians that live in certain areas all over the country. And it was just really awesome to meet him. He's very astute. His English is great. And I offered, and I said, and would you like, I'd love to interview you. And he said, sure. And we have arranged to have our first international exclusive interview March 12th. It's a week from today. I think it's a week, unless I'm off. I'm like looking at my calendar. It is the Thursday night. Yep, it's a week from today. I was right. So a week from today, March 12th, we are pre-taping the interview because Hungary is 6 hours ahead of us, but it will air live at 8 p.m. for the full hour. I want every single person on this network and above and beyond to reshare, share. We will be promoting this interview a couple of days before. We'll promote it on Tuesday and, of course, on Wednesday at the Pulse, and Thursday all day. This is an exclusive interview with an international cabinet guy who works directly under Orban, who actually kind of does a lot of his campaigning like on the side without really telling anybody. But he told us how much they love Donald Trump and that President Trump's endorsement means a lot. As you know, Orban is up for re-election in April. So it's really important that we get Orban or that he gets reelected, but also that we let Martin know how much we love the president and his agenda. And let me tell you something, Mr. Martin is very learned in American politics. He does watch what goes on here in America, and they combat anti-Semitism all the time in Hungary. They don't believe in any of these pro-Hamas protests and free Palestine. They actually banned it from the country. They don't allow it. And it's not that they're cutting free speech. It's they don't like the rhetoric. They don't like innocent lives to be killed or hurt. So, So, guys, this is really, really important. I want you all to be a part of this. This is an exclusive international interview. Again, it's part of our 1-year anniversary. This is going to be huge. And we really want you all to be a part of this because there's nothing like it. Nothing like it. And this guy is so sweet and he's so open. And I had a wonderful conversation with him when I met him in Budapest. He gave up an hour, almost 2 hours of his time. I was escorted by his special Secret Service. I had to have an escort with me. And actually, when I went to the bathroom, I had to have an escort. And then when I got out of the bathroom, I had to be escorted because you weren't allowed to walk around, where we were. And he gave me a tour of the monastery, and it was great. It was just a really great morning, really great day. So please, guys, please be a part of this. This is going to be huge. And we'll keep you posted. We'll keep you posted on, again, and update you throughout the week. So that interview will be live next Thursday night at 8 p.m. on this network. And I just wanted to remind you guys that we have a new show coming up on Tuesday, March 11th with two new people, Jack Brangan and Constance Ditzel. It's called New Jersey State House Watch. So they're actually going to be on our network 2 Tuesdays a night during my hour. So they'll be in from 7:30 to 8:30. So I will actually be on, I won't be on every Tuesday night. I'll be on every other Tuesday night. So 2 Tuesdays out of the month, I won't be on, but I'll be on the Thursdays when I can, and of course the Pulse. But I encourage everybody to watch this new show. It's launching March 11th. It's called New Jersey State House Watch with Jack Brangan and Constance Ditzel. They both ran for assembly in New Jersey. They both lost, but they're both still heavily involved in politics. And yeah, it's the second and fourth Tuesday. Thank you, Damon Sherrod of the month. And we're really excited. Again, that's something that is new to the new year. We're very excited that they have come on our network and that they are doing this new show. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because you guys have to watch it. And I can't speak for them about their show. Only they can speak for them about their show. But we'll heavily promote it. We're very excited to have them on. And of course, we are in candidate mode and candidate hour. We have some important candidates that my network, or excuse me, I say my network, our network, I mean my show, have heavily endorsed and heavily supported. Again, don't forget my good friend Tim Fazenbaker, who's running for Baltimore County Council, District 9. Yep, there it is. That's his QR code. Go to timfazenbaker.com. That's TimFazenbaker.com. He's running up against this frickin' rhino who's not going to win. Tim is in the Most America First MAGA district, to the point where rhinos and Democrats have actually told Tim he's going to win to his face. But we don't take anything lightly. We don't take anything for granted, because you never know what these rhinos and these Democrats have up their sleeves. So please, guys, go to timfazenbaker.com, make a donation, and get this man in office. Let him be the newest guy on the county council. We love Tim. He's been a great asset to our network. He's very loyal and very faithful. And I've had the pleasure of working with him for 6 years. And I'm excited to continue the journey and to continue the work with him once he gets into the council. And of course, don't forget our good friend Kimberly Stansberry is running for Baltimore County executive. I can tell you, it's only her and another guy that are running in the primary. She will win her primary. I guarantee you 100%. Nobody knows the other guy. The other guy's trying to buy his way in. He's awful. He doesn't even know the issues. I don't know his name. He's so terrible. And he's working with a convicted felon on his campaign. So Kimberly Stansberry is pure. If she wins, she'll be the first ever duly elected woman to be county executive, in Baltimore County. She's awesome. I love her. She's a great person. So please go to electkimstansberry.org, and make a donation today. And of course, I work with my good friend Marcel Sturbeck. He's running for Ohio Secretary of State. Marcel is an America First guy. He served our nation. He's having a fundraiser at the Caputo's house in Ohio, March 23rd. Michael and Karen Caputo will be hosting him again for a wonderful fundraiser. I know the Caputos are great people. And Marcel is just a wonderful person. And he's actually making a lot of buzz and making the rounds. He's going up against the current Ohio treasurer. And, people want something new. They want something new. They want something fresh. I can tell you Marcel is very into securing our elections. He's all about the SAVE Act. He's all about free and fair elections. He actually literally talked about in his campaign. And of course, his opponent was like, oh, okay, that sounds like a great idea. I'll steal that and run with it. But Marcel was the originator of any idea that has to do with free and fair elections in Ohio. And that's what he's running on. That's what's so important to him. So that's the QR code. Please, guys, give him a donation. Like I said, he's making the rounds. He's making noise. He's making buzz. And we heavily endorse and support him. Of course, my good friend Julie Speedy Perry. Virginia is becoming a very ridiculous, tough state, but there are still some seats that we can flip. This is a congressional seat now. They do say that District 10, the one that she's running for, can flip from D to R, and we want to make that happen for her. So please, guys, go to her website, Julie Speedy Perry, and give her a donation today. And of course, we have our friend Damon Galdo of the Jersey Shore running for Congress in District Number 1. He's already won his primary. We've got to get him through the general. We have the GOP of New Jersey that have already endorsed him and supported him, and their job is to help push him to victory, but it's also we the people's help as well. So please, guys, go to Damon Galdo for Congress, vote damongaldo.com, make a donation. That's the QR code, $100, $200, $500, it all helps. And we want to get him over the hump, and we want to get him into Congress in November. And of course, we have our friend Justin Murphy, who's running for the United States Senate. We love Justin. He's been a special guest on the Pulse. He's such a brilliant guy, so intelligent. We're so happy that he is a part of our network and that my show and our network have heavily endorsed and we support him. So go to Justin Murphy in New Jersey for U.S. Senate, Murphy for U.S. Senate 2026. Make a donation to his campaign today. And so far, that's it. If you are a conservative candidate, if you're an America First person and you would like us to feature you on our network, go to AmericasPulseNetwork.com and sign up and like and subscribe. You can message us anytime. You can message me, Alexandra Levine, on Facebook. I'm very accessible. If you want to be featured, if you want to, get an endorsement from our network, it's because we are, part of the White House press pool. It looks really good if we endorse and support you, because we can just tell Caroline Levitt and President Trump a little bit of information about you, just a little incentive. But don't use us for that. Don't do it, because it's not going to work. We want sincerity. We want people that are sincere. Don't jump on our network and, use us for an endorsement for the president or use us to get in with the president, whatever, because it's not going to happen. But if you are one of those people with great values and conservative values, we'd love to have you on our network. We'd love to heavily vet you and see if you're someone that we want to endorse and support, because it's our reputation on the line if we endorse and support you as well. And of course, don't forget about our good friend, Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Corner. Help donate to Jonah Eisenberg to overcome a financial health crisis. The poor guy's been in and out of the hospital all year. He's had one hell of a year. And we were able to raise $6,400 from him. It's kind of like plateaued. So guess what, guys? It's a new year. Donate to someone who served our nation. Donate to a Navyman. He served our Navy, and we have to get back to our veterans. And he's, oh my God, working like 2 jobs, supporting his son, supporting other people in his household, paying a mortgage. I mean, he's got a lot of hospital bills, a lot of, he's got to pay these things. And it's not his fault that he's been going through all this. And he's been trugging along, and, we feel really bad for him and we need to help him. So please, guys, go to donate to Jonah Eisenberg / overcome a financial health crisis. Go to GoFundMe.com. Give a donation today. The goal of this GoFundMe is $10,000. The final goal is $100,000. Do it, and you'll be happy when you do it. So, guys, again, we are very accessible on our network. You can always go to Damon Galdo, watch his show Monday and Friday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. You can follow him at Damon Galdo on Facebook, at Damon Galdo for Congress, at Damon Galdo on X. You can always follow Seth Eisenberg on the Conservative Corner, at the Conservative Corner on Facebook, and at Conservative Seth on X. You can also follow Constance Stitzel, Jack Brangan. They're very accessible on X and YouTube and Instagram. And you can always find them. You can message them on Facebook as well. They're always very accessible. Don't forget, guys, we always have the Pulse every Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. You never know who's going to be the special guest. You never know who's hosting. Could be me, could be Tim, could be Seth. You never know. So we love the Pulse. It's a 5-person panel. And we haven't had our 1-year anniversary of that, but that's going to be great when we launch our 1-year anniversary of the Pulse, because we started the Pulse a little bit later than the network. But again, we're so happy that we have been here 1 year long, 1 year strong, and we're just getting stronger. We're just getting better. And of course, guys, don't forget to follow me, Alexandra Levine, on Facebook, Alexandra Levine, at Alexandra LEVI20 on X, at A.L.L Levine85 on Parler, on True Social, on TikTok, on Spotify, on YouTube at Levine Consulting, at did I say TikTok, True Social, Instagram, A.L.L Levine85. I'm everywhere. I'm very accessible. But you have to follow me, because you never know if my hair is going to be straight or going to be curly. You never know what color my hair is going to be, if it's going to be lighter, if it's going to be darker, if it's going to be highlighted, if it's going to be one color. You never know what color my nails are going to be. These are changing this week. So you have to follow me so you know what look to look for. But thanks, guys. This has been a phenomenal hour. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.
Alexandra, thanks you for watching tonight's Alexandra Levine live podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified for upcoming episodes. If you like what the Alexandra talks about, then share the Alexandra Levine live